Thank you for being here today, Christian. I know this subject may be hard to talk about, so I'm really happy that you're able to do so. How old were you when you experienced the traumatic situation in your life?
So when this all happened, I was 11 years old. I had just started sixth grade.
Can you tell me what happened that day?
In 2006, there was a raid in our apartment, and one of our neighbors was actually selling drugs out of their apartment. And my dad at the time was the manager of the building. So when the cops came in and raided the apartment, his name was on the directory. So the cops, what they did is they ended up looking at every person that lived there and did a background check. And on my dad, it said that he had an order of deportation. So I don't, I didn't witness this. This is something my mom and my dad both told me later on. But around 5, 6 in the morning, I wake up to a flashlight and to a gun pointed at me and my sister. At the time, we shared bedrooms, so I saw guns pointed at me, guns pointed at my sister, almost as if me and my sister were criminals or if we were suspects or something. And just having that light flash right in front of you, it's just something so horrible to experience, especially when it's from a cop, someone you would think is there to protect you. Um, they told us to get out of bed. Me and my sister, from what we saw on TV, we just got out of bed with our hands up because at first I thought it was a robbery, but it wasn't until I saw their jackets that I realized, oh, it was not only immigration, but it was also the Long Beach Police Department. And they told my dad, everything, that he was being arrested, he was being taken downtown. In my innocence, I thought, oh, he's going to be taken downtown. He'll be there for like a couple of minutes and then he'll be back. And it wouldn't be for another 2 years that my dad would return home after that traumatic incident.
So, what was your initial reaction?
So my initial reaction to this was shock because you would think, cops being there to protect you. When cops used to come to school, the cops are your friends, cops are there to protect you. But then seeing a whole different side of them where they draw guns on two innocent kids who had nothing to do with the raid that was going on or had no knowledge of my dad's legal status and treat us like criminals, like if we were also accomplices, hurt me and my sister. Because of that, I don't see cops the same way anymore. I panic when I see a cop either next to me, following me when I'm driving. The days after my dad's arrest, I would panic. I'd start crying, hyperventilating whenever there was a cop behind my mom when we were driving, or whenever a cop would, come to school and give presentations on how, we're your friends. You kind of develop not a hatred, but a fear of them. And there was a time where I didn't believe cops were my friends because of the way I was treated in that particular situation. And to this day, I still, when I'm driving, I start panicking. The other day, there was actually someone was arrested in my apartment building, and I freaked out. And my grandpa made fun of me, saying, why are you freaking out? The cops are not here to arrest you. But I told him, yes, but just seeing these cops walk into the apartment building and arrest somebody else reminds me of how I was treated and how my dad was arrested and how that memory just stays in my mind and plays over and contributes to my fear of police.
So, what resources did you guys have?
So the only resource at the time we had was my grandfather, but in regards to like psychological evaluation, we didn't get any help until like 4 years, 5 years after. Um, my constant fear for cops grew, and it became worse. I would have panic attacks while I was driving, and my mom told us, you know what, it's time to get for all of us to get evaluated, because in some way we didn't want to accept the fact that we were traumatized by what had happened. We went, and a psychologist explained that that incident that happened with the cops, well, it's normal for a kid at that time to develop such trauma, to be traumatized in that sense. She said well, she's, I don't want to say it's normal, but it's understandable as to why my fear for cops grew, because I never confronted the fact that I was, and probably never wanted to accept it. I realized it, but I never officially said, "Oh, you know what? I'm traumatized by what happened to me," and that led to my fear of cops.
How has your father's deportation affected your family as a whole?
Um, well, as a family, we're always. I feel like it united us more because now it's just three of us, and we look out for each other. We protect each other even more than we did when my dad was here. And it's mainly because, the same thing. We had that experience where one of our own was taken away. So we feel like, we all need to stick together. We need to protect each other because who knows what can happen. Um, my dad's been in Guatemala for almost 10 years. So our relationship with him isn't the same. Um, we rarely talk to him on the phone. And when we do, it's because mom makes us. And it's not because we hate him or anything, but it's just like after so long of not growing up together, you kind of just, you know, grow up and you outgrow certain people. And I know it's, weird to say that I outgrew my dad, and because of that, I talk to him. But it's because of that distance that, he missed out on important events. It's just like I feel like, oh, I'm indifferent about my father just because, I didn't grow up with him.
So, how do you deal with your fear of police now? And do you think you'll ever get past it?
Before, at the sight of a cop, I used to freak out just by looking at it, just by seeing a patrol car. I would already start panicking. Now, I just see a cop and I think, oh, it's just another person on the street, who's doing his job. But it's only in situations where I run into the cops or where I don't see them. So if I'm driving and I see a cop behind me, I start panicking. If a cop pulls up behind next to me, I'll start panicking as well, thinking, there's something about me that he knows. Like if he's sensing my fear, if I accidentally drive into a checkpoint, I'll freak out and I'll start hyperventilating. But it's only in those cases. So I feel like I have gotten over it a little, in the sense where I can see a cop and not freak out. To say that I will, get over it or to ever just move on from this fear, I don't think I will. I don't think. Well, I don't want to be negative either, but I could get over it, but it will take some time. It's been 10 years, and to this day, I still have some fear. Who knows what the next 10 years might bring. If I might still have that fear, or if I might get over entirely. I believe that with the progress that I'm making, I'll just see a cop and act normal. I won't need to worry at all.
So, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. Thank you so much for participating in the interview today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.